Hey everyone, I'm Miles Tost. I'm a level design lead at CD Projekt RED. There are several, but one that really answers the question quite specifically to me is a moment towards later of the development where, like fixing a game of that size in the late stage is really laborious work, right? Like you're closing the game, but you're also in a moment where you only see the flaws, right? You don't really have this moment where you see how it's shaping up, really, right? So I remember playtesting it, looking for things to fix and gunning around Novigrad on a somewhat close to release build. And the cool moment that happened for me was like when I ran through the city and there was the bell tower ringing, and it sounded exactly like the bell towers like I know from my childhood place where I grew up. And I genuinely had this vibe of like, holy shit, man, what an atmosphere, and like seeing all the people on the streets in Novigrad walking around, hearing the audio ambient, the wind and all that. So like really that was the first moment I vividly remember where I thought, oh, I think it's gonna be all right. There's something special here. Very exciting. I think it's super fucking cool. I swore, but that's what it is. No, I think it's super fucking cool. Like honestly, the mere idea of doing an expansion like 10 plus 11 years after the original shipped for a game that is that old. I need to be careful not to insult myself. So one thing that I really like about it is just how insane that idea is, right? And also so fucking cool. People are wondering like, why are you doing this? And the only real question to the answer to that is like, why not? For me, looking at it from this distance is just super exciting because like obviously I have a lot of very fond memories working on the game. And back then when we were working on it, and trust me, to some of us even on the day of launch, we weren't aware of and I can say, I guess now, cultural impact this game would have over all of these years later, right? That to even think that this would be such a game that people would enjoy getting an expansion of 11 years later is absolute insanity. So looking at it from that perspective is like, how the fuck did this happen? Yet here we are. And when I then look at the stuff that Fool's Theory is cooking up, right? Especially since we're showcasing a bit of that. It's been incredible. Like honestly, it's both a super cool mix of nostalgia, but sort of rediscovery, right? You see the old, but it's wrapped in all this new, fancy, super cool look. And honestly, it's just really special. I mean, first off, like how do you get a Witcher out of retirement, right? Like, mere fact of having a Witcher retire in the Witcher world is in by itself ludicrous, right? That doesn't really happen. It's multiple times said that Witchers usually don't die of old age, right? And here's a guy who's had a well-deserved retirement in Corvo Bianco, and now having him come back, right? Like I always sort of thought, if we did this, we would have like need a really good reason and like a really cool story to tell. Luckily for us, we did have that, and we had that even some time ago, right? Like the idea for doing this kind of story was around for a while. We just didn't have sort of the means or the ways to schedule it into our busy schedule of, creating the next full-fledged Witcher game, for example. And luckily with the help of Fool's Theory, we're now able to execute it. Planets aligned, the magic happened, and I think what is very cool about it is just that we see this moment for us, like for me, of passing on the torch, right? And that comes with a bit of concern also, right? You're looking at it going like, oh my God, will they pull it off? Will they do it, right? But after having seen the material that we have sort of prepared, after having talked to the guys, how they think about it and all that, it's pretty clear to me that there's no reason to worry, I do firmly believe that Songs of the Past, the way it is, if you are a Witcher fan, if you have played our games, you will be in for quite a ride, right? It will really deliver on what I would almost call like our signature mature storytelling. This is a very personal one, but look at it like this. This is the first Witcher content that I get to experience somewhat as a fan, right? Like, it's a weird and bizarre thing to have been part of something that turned so big, right? And then not being able to play it as a fan. Like, you know, I even to this day, when I jump into Witcher 3, I remember all of the places for loot and all of that, right? Like, it's never a cleared slate. I tried to let the magic of time do its thing, but it didn't do. So now I get to have this piece of Witcher content that I get to almost experience as a fan, right? I know fairly a lot about it by now, but I'm really excited to discover this new region, you know, that has a unique visual identity, you know, cultural identity that we haven't really seen in the Witcher universe before. And I really would like to learn more about, you know, Dandelion and his past, and to get to see an adventure that Geralt solves that I didn't really take part in creating. Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, I hope it's clear. I'm a big fan of The Witcher, and I would just really hope, you know, that a lot more people become fans of The Witcher. I think this is such a great moment to introduce yourself to the franchise, right? With the remastered update, both expansions included in that, you know, by owning the base game. If you've played the game back then, you didn't play the expansions, for example, now it's a great time to come back and get a whole slew of new things, you know, updates, modernizations that make you, you know, fall in love, hopefully, the way that I'm in love with the franchise. And then there's all this new stuff to discover, and I hope this will onboard a lot of people into this thing that we love so dearly, and that they can see how fantastic and great this universe is. Ooh, that is easy. So for me, that has got to be Warcraft 3. Like, when I was teenager Miles many centuries ago, I was really into modding Warcraft 3, you know, creating custom maps. I created them all. I created my own tower defenses, my own footman wars, all of the, you know, fun things. I even at some point tried to create my own Aeon of Strife, but you know, or Eon of Strife, I don't know how you even pronounce it back then, you know, my English wasn't as good. Obviously these were mostly projects that I was kind of doing by myself, then sort of hosting it, and like one person joined and then they left immediately. But I connect so much fun and joy with making that, and that was ultimately what spawned my wish to go into the industry. Later on, when I was modding this, I was partaking on a forum. I know forums are like, you know, things of the past as well. But they were doing these contests for making the most coolest terrain and landscapes in, right? And I really enjoyed that. And there was a time in me where I was also almost a bit frustrated, because I was like, I would like this to be a job. Can it be a job that I can do this? And after a bit of research, I learned that level design is a thing. And yeah, long story short, it's probably the spark that brought me here today.